Hey everyone, welcome to what might be the shortest podcast ever.
I gotta pay my rent. I totally forgot that I have to pay my rent.
Right before we came live, Aaron started freaking out and worrying that he hadn't paid his rent. So
I'm weighing whether I should stay or I should go and pay my rent.
Maybe we should just pause and just have like...
Can you give it'll take like an hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
That's all it'll
the podcast is
I gotta find my checkbook.
I think I have checks.
That's the worst thing about buying a house, like and no longer renting, is that you have like this fucking 30 years of crippling debt over your head. But the best thing is, at least you don't have to pay till the 15th of the month.
But it's not the same thing. You still have to pay it every month.
Yeah,
but it's arbitrary.
But it's even grayer because like you can let it default. Like you just let it default and then eventually you pay. You know, like you can just.
It's like how many months is it till the bank notices?
Yeah,
you don't really own a house though.
Well, after 30 years, you do.
Yeah, after 30 years, but you're just staying in the house, the bank's house, basically.
Yeah.
But the bank isn't like coming over and fixing shit. Like, do they have what are you talking? I mean, yeah. It's
hey, bank, my AC's broken.
Yeah, they don't care unless you don't pay.
Well, there just has to be a legal loophole that if the bank needs to crash someplace for a night.
What happens? What happens if you don't pay? Like for how? Like what do they do?
Chris has a mortgage now, so he's legitimately asking. He's like, wait, hold on, wait.
After a while, they don't notice immediately, but they will eventually notice, and then they try to make you pay it, and then if you don't pay it, then they just take your house back.
Take it.
Yeah.
Gus, what's a second mortgage? I have all these questions. I guess
before we get to the further intricacies of home mortgages, it's a podcast. I'm Gus.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Gus. So what do you mean, a second mortgage?
Yeah, people take out second mortgages when they need money.
Like a line of credit or something.
I don't know. In movies, when they need money, they take out a second mortgage.
Like Ghostbusters, he takes out a third mortgage on his house.
So let's say you bought a house, and you bought the house 10 years ago, and you paid $100,000.
Okay.
Today, let's say the house is worth $150,000.
What was it worth 10 years ago?
$100,000.
Okay.
So like now it's worth $50,000 more. You mortgage against that, and since it's worth more, you get the difference in money.
So it's kind of like you're selling the house right now
to yourself.
And then you're just like starting over from scratch. Why don't you do that like every year? Like I would do that. Like I would do it, and then the next day I would do it again because I need $20 for gas.
You do have to pay a lot of fees every time you do this.
Oh, okay.
There's like a lender right now listening and like lowering his credit score as they're just like, beep, done.
Credit scores
That's like the ultimate sign of irresponsibility.
Credit scores are bullshit.
You're talking about it's just invisible money that they just give you? Yeah, more of that.
Yeah, credit scores are bullshit.
I had a credit hit and I was like freaking out, and I pay every month to get, keep updated with stuff. And they told me the name of the company. So I called the credit agency and they're like, you can't talk to these people. The only way you can reach them is if you mail them a letter. I haven't mailed somebody a letter since I was like 4. So I go through all the work and I mail it and I haven't heard anything back. But like, there's nothing. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like what? Like Gus, what am I supposed to do?
Just wait.
No, you take a second mortgage out on your house.
You're like, I need some money for postage. I just mailed a letter. I needed.
Why didn't I buy those forever stamps?
So like,
it's a mail joke.
Speaking of, no, Barbara, don't laugh. Speaking of like credit scores being bullshit, the other day. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. Home Depot had that credit card breach, and as a result, if you shop at Home Depot...
We all got new credit cards.
Yeah, you get new credit cards, and you get enrolled in, like, automatic credit monitoring. And I'd forgotten about it. Like, I'd signed up for it and whatever. And then I got, like, the ultimate phishing phone call the other day. It's like an automated voice call going, this is, your credit protection services. We need to set up your personal passcode and your PIN. Please enter your personal PIN and say your password. I was like, what the fuck you? I'm not doing.
I've quizzed them before, and like they're so elusive in their answers, and eventually just hang up.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got one of those. Didn't you get one of those calls recently too? With like I know Chris and I both had our credit cards
at the same time
recently. We weren't going to the same places, I don't think.
Well, you went to a business. We won't say where. You both went to a business, and then both your credit cards information was taken.
It was the bar where we did the speed dating social disorder. That's where we thought it was.
Oh yeah, but the way you just explained it now,
you sounded like we were
you went to a business. People danced, and
maybe it was you guys, or maybe it was.
We don't know for sure. We're not saying anything.
That's what makes it sound shady. Yeah.
So this is your first time on the podcast, Aaron.
It is.
Welcome.
I feel good.
For people who don't know, what is it you do around here?
I don't know. I really do. I do like, I guess, editing, and Chris and I have social disorder, which is a nice.
It made it sound like we had a baby. Like, well, we have a.
We have a baby together called Social Disorder, and it's a family program that's very nice. And I don't know, live action.
Live action. Jeff was telling me the other day that he had his favorite interaction with you ever, Chris.
Yeah.
Jeff told me he walked up to Chris the other day and here in the studio and said, "Chris, what do you do here?" And Chris could not give him an answer. Chris said, "I don't know, live action, shorts." And Jeff said, "We haven't put a short out in forever. What do you do? What is a day in your work?" And Chris could not, honestly, not answer.
It's
Chris was
totally
like,
true.
well, I think I edit a lot. Like,
Yeah, it's a lot harder when you think about it in terms of a day.
Yeah.
I'm always really busy with all
He's
those
always
things.
always busy doing things. I mean, I painted my car the other day in the parking lot.
I saw you like one day after a podcast. You were out there in the dark with light panels.
That's part of what I do here.
and you were painting the car black.
Yeah, that
Like,
was.
I get it if you were painting it. Like,
Let me tell
white
you
or
something.
red.
If you're ever painting your car black in a parking lot at night, just don't do it. Just stop what you're doing, return all of the paint, and just stop, because I missed a lot of fucking spots on that car.
no kidding.
No,
Yeah.
Also, most people don't paint their own car. Just for the
What's wrong with being different? I mean, it's
Like,
fine.
did you get like special auto paint, or is it just like you went to Home Depot?
No,
and
it's
bought-
Rust-Oleum paint. it's what you'd paint a bench with.
And the thing is, he started painting it a month ago, but it's only
Three
half
and a half
painted.
weeks
And now
ago.
he's got it wrapped up with tape, so it looks like a mummy that escaped.
Yeah.
It did look like it burned to the ground for a little bit because it was like gray and primered and like little patches of metal and stuff like that. But
And it's a.
The best part is you also have like your license plate totally taped over.
Oh, yeah, I have it totally
walked by and
taped
like,
over.
There's no way that's legal.
there's no back like it's taped over in the back, and then I don't have a front license plate.
But
so
it is
they have no idea.
It is a cop car.
Yeah, it's a cop car. Like, that car looks like it's driven by a guy who's kicked off the force.
Yeah, that's what I was
30
just thinking
years ago.
tonight. Like, it's people think it's like a cop car for a different reason now. They think it's a bad cop, like a cop with a bend. You know, he's like, oh, he's driving around without plates and tape all over the car, and there's paint dripping off of it. Like, he's crazy. He's fucking crazy.
He doesn't
Yeah.
play by the rules.
He doesn't play by
He's
the
outside
rules,
the law.
and he doesn't know how to paint. Like, that's what my car is now.
But okay, so we went to the gym today. Aaron ate a piece of gum off the floor of the gym.
Why did you say that?
I don't know, because it was really gross.
It was in a wrapper though. That
He picked
So like
up
someone had spit it out into a wrapper.
no.
It was an unchewed piece of gum, but he picked it up off the ground and it was like mushed.
Perfectly wrapped.
Nah, but it was mushed. And,
And it
he
did
goes,
look like
"Is this
pocket
yours?"
gum.
And I said, "No." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he ate it.
What
What
kind,
if
of
that
gu-
wasn't-
what kind of gum was it?
I don't poison gum. It was
Like,
fine. It was
what-
Orbits.
What kind of? Okay, so it was like
Orbits,
the thin paper wrapper.
thin paper, but it was sealed paper. You know, like, and it didn't have
No, it
like
wasn't.
that
They don't
pocket.
seal that.
No, they don't seal it. It was like folded.
No,
No, but
folded.
it wasn't like a bad fold on it. It was like a clean fold, and it didn't look like pocket gum. Like, it didn't have that, that soft.
No, it was
bend, that
gross
pocket.
looking.
No, he's lying.
What if
He's
somebody
lying
put there
now.
intentionally? What if that's the start of like the Ebola bandit?
I mean, I have been hallucinating this entire time I've been sitting here. I just didn't want to say anything.
Because did you see the Austin American Statesman reported that some EMS agency in Austin said that we're not ready for Ebola? Like, they made a public declaration in a state where we've had a Ebola outbreak and said, yeah,
We
we're
did not have
not.
an outbreak. We had an incident.
What's an
That sounds like a
outbreak? Is that a
government man.
wide?
An outbreak sounds like it was widespread and out of control
Okay, we
agree.
had 3 people
with Ebola.
with Ebola. And then the Austin, like, there's news in Austin, like, yeah, we're not ready for it. And it's like, you've had 4 months.
How do you prepare for it though?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's
It's
what
like-
I was thinking.
It's like I'm sure the suits are back ordered on Amazon. They're waiting for them to show up.
It's because Bernie ordered 30 of them.
Have you seen those suits? They're only $160.
Are they?
And they look scary as hell.
They're
Like,
really
I'd wear one to
scary
work.
looking.
It would be
John's-
great. Yeah, you just sit at your desk and no one will touch you all day long.
Jon Stewart did a series of shows from Austin, and in the first show, he came out in like a whole Ebola suit.
Because it was in Dallas?
Because it was only 130
No, it was an
bucks.
No, but I mean, because it was in
He was just
Dallas.
making fun of like all the Ebola hype and
Oh, okay.
scare.
I thought because it was in Texas, he was like, oh, well, that's kind of close to Austin.
He was just
or
making a
Dallas
joke.
is.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's his shtick.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. I don't know.
I read today that he said, I guess his contract at the Daily Show's up in a year.
Yeah.
And he said he was being courted by NBC News to go and potentially anchor Meet the Press.
That's insane.
Really?
Yeah, can you imagine making that jump from like a comedy show to that? It's like if I quit doing this podcast and went and started working for like NPR. Like, I don't know.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah,
Are you kind of like floating that one out there,
Hey,
guys?
NPR, if you're all curious.
Testing the waters.
I hear that the host of Car Talk died today. Too soon? Jesus, I heard some groans over there.
Keith Olbermann went from hosting ESPN's Sports Center to his own show. I think it was on MSNBC.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
on
right.
MSNBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess you can, and I think Jon Stewart probably has more clout than Keith Olbermann did.
Jon
Yeah.
Stewart's talked for a while about like he doesn't have many years left at the helm of the Daily Show. Like he doesn't want to. I don't think. Like he believes like in the letter. Well, Letterman didn't really do that well, but like you just kind of bow out at your high point and
After 12 years.
yeah,
or
or however.
whatever.
Well, I mean, God, some of those guys are 20, 25.
He
How
came
long-
in about like 98 or 99. It wasn't too far before the election, the 2000 election.
So, like-
Because
Yeah,
that was when he exploded
Yeah,
in
like
the show.
15,
That-
16 years.
That was
Yeah.
Indecision 2000, right? That's when
Yeah.
that all happened. Yeah.
Craig Kilborn was like, fuck Comedy Central. I'm going to hit it big on network TV.
Didn't happen.
Did not happen.
Who was yeah, I feel like I always get Craig Kilborn and the guy that did Talk Soup, Hal Sparks. I always get them confused for some reason.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
they have the same cockiness or
I
something.
guess maybe
like,
that's it. Like they don't look at all the same.
Yeah,
but
they have
it's
that
just-
same kind of like or
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah. I always associate those guys as the same thing in my head. It must be really fascinating for everyone who's a fan of old,
I was
15, 20
in my
year
head. I was
television.
thinking, who are they?
Very, very, very specific.
So we have to have like an airplane story in every podcast, right?
Go on.
Did you see that there was a couple on a Southwest flight that got married in the flight? Like it wasn't impromptu; it was planned, and they had like a band there and like the whole people.
But why?
But they got married.
Oh my God, there's pictures.
That's like
Yeah.
getting married
They
on a
got
Greyhound
married
bus.
on their way, and I think they're on their way to Puerto Rico. And you just wonder, like, if you're one of the people getting married, you're like, I don't have an escape plan. Like, what if?
Like, what
if I got to get out of
You
here?
bring like a fake mustache and like go to
Yeah.
the bathroom and to put it on.
Or you're like, why is the groom wearing a parachute?
That would be the
That's
best.
pretty weird.
That would be the best. You know what they're like? This, if anyone has anything, any reason why they shouldn't be married, you should just like get all the passengers who no one knows them. You know, because there's gonna be random passengers, right? Or they ran
Yeah,
out a whole
of course.
plane. Yeah,
Yeah.
they all just raise their hand and they can't kick them off.
It's like, do you have any? You know any reason why they shouldn't be married? Yes. Because they're getting married on a fucking plane. Does ananybody else think this is
On a
weird?
Southwest flight? Like that's awful.
Yeah, I mean, at least United. But they used that line. I don't know if it was a priest who married them or what, but whoever was conducting the ceremony used that line, and they said, if anybody has a reason these two shouldn't be married, press the flight attendant button and talk to a flight attendant. And it's like,
That's awful.
come on.
You know, her dress had to smell so bad, like after the flight, because you know how you can't get that flight smell out until you like really wash it. Like it still smells like Southwest flight.
Did she? So the question is, did she go through security in the wedding dress? Like, can you see her like going through the scanning machine, like putting her arms
Or did
up?
she
But
change in the bathroom?
Yeah, it's like, ma'am, do you have something under your dress? Yeah, I'm wearing a fucking wedding dress.
Yeah, and why wait to consummate the marriage and your honeymoon? You got a, an airport bathroom right there. Just hop in.
Mile High Club it.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
awful.
just immediately walk back down the aisle and go bone in the bathroom.
Where are they going?
This the
It's
ceremonial
like,
fucking.
the bedding ceremony. Is that what it's called
Yeah,
in Game
yeah.
of Thrones?
So Jordan, speaking of planes, Jordan was making fun of me earlier. We went to lunch and we were waiting for our food over at a burger place down the road. And I was staring out the window and I saw a plane. And I wasn't even thinking. I was looking. I thought, that's a weird looking plane. I said, what plane is that? And I just walked out of the restaurant. And Jordan said he was like looking around like, what the fuck just happened?
You just got up. You didn't
I
say
just got-
anything.
No, I was like, I out loud I said, what plane is that? And I just walked out to go look at it.
What kind of little
you ever-
kid were you? That
No, because the other thing, you look for the British Airways.
Well, yeah, this
Flight,
is way
like,
too early for them. They were late. British Airways was like 40 minutes late today, for the record.
Do you actually go out and look
No,
for it?
no, no.
this
Like I just
time?
happen to be walking
No.
and I see it all the fucking time. And they were late today. I didn't send a picture to Gavin.
God,
But
call him out.
our text conversation is just a long list of me texting him pictures of that plane.
I'm sure he's not grown tired of that at
No,
all.
I was even texting when he was in the UK. Like sometimes he's in the UK and I was like, oh, I got to text his UK number. And I'll send him over
Money
there.
well spent.
Yeah, not for me, for him, right?
I don't know.
Oh, no,
if
it
you
is
sent
for me too. No,
initially-
it's iMessage though. It's all data.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even think about it. Oh man, now that text messages and all this shit goes over data, it's so much cheaper to like text or communicate with people internationally than it used to be. Like now you've got Skype, you've got like FaceTime audio, FaceTime video for talking to people. Like I'm so glad that telephone companies don't have that fucking stranglehold on you anymore.
Yeah.
Where you are like, just for hearing the sound of someone's voice, you're paying like $30.
I don't know if it's like this everywhere in Europe, but I had a friend in Italy who was saying text messaging has always been super expensive, even within the country. That's why everybody uses WhatsApp. Everybody was surprised that Facebook bought WhatsApp for, I don't know how many.
$6 billion.
$6 billion, because no one here uses it, but
everyone else does.
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone else
especially
does.
in, I think China, right? China, or maybe not China, but maybe Japan.
Says the guy who doesn't use text messages.
I have WhatsApp now. I have it now, and everything's fine. Let's not bring up text messaging. Yeah, I don't.
He doesn't
have
use
to,
text messages. You can't.
so
can't text.
Aaron doesn't get invited to a lot of stuff, basically.
You don't use text messages, but you use WhatsApp?
I had to use because he made me get WhatsApp.
Yeah.
He made me get WhatsApp, and like now he terrorizes me with it now. Like he sends me things in the morning or whatever. Like I didn't want it, but I had to get it because like for shooting and
It's
stuff
for
like that.
social disorder because a lot of times we'll have different cameras hit like all different places, and then we'll either have walkies or communicate via text. And if Aaron doesn't get text, then it's like there's just
He's
one.
like, just email me, and I'll be on my email.
That's not what I said. I was like, I'll be fine without talking.
No, it's just
to you.
because like you make my life difficult sometimes because you don't have text messaging,
And I like
so
that.
finding a way to actually get you on it and then exploiting it was
Yeah.
was a joy.
I'm the text message. The time. Okay, so the most recent one, the garage sale, was almost really really bad because I didn't get because I almost didn't see a text message. So in the premise is Aaron is selling garage sale items that are for a serial killer, and I thought for like a good ending thing is I would wait till there were a bunch of people in the garage sale, and then I would run out basically naked,
Covered in
bloodied,
blood.
and tied with my hands tied behind my back, and I was all ready to go. I was tied up, and then I was like texting. I was texting the group message. I was like, hey. Are there a bunch of people out there right now? And they're like, yeah, there's like 3 or 4. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm about to run out. Get ready. And they're like, yeah, and one of them's a cop. And I was like, okay, I'm going to wait on this.
It was in the middle when, if you see the episode, the cop that comes, he's a foot taller than me. And like, he's a huge, imposing man, and he's a cop. And I'm talking to him, like, I'm trying to like sell him something and like distract him from all like the blood and the hair and all that other stuff. And meanwhile, like Chris, I guess I had no idea that he was in the house ready. He was going to come running out, screaming, like half naked. And then, I mean, I would have been at the very least tased. I mean, a light,
Which
a light tasing.
I wish I had done it, but
Yeah, I mean, it would have been because the cop was already like, this doesn't look right. This doesn't. What about this? Doesn't
Yeah, but he
look
would have
right.
gone after Chris while like grabbing you in the neck and dragging you around.
No. Here's what would have happened. He would have seen the man boy come out, covered in blood, and then he would have gone, "You're mine." And then that would have been it. That would have been the end of the shoot.
That would have been the end of
It would have
you.
ended in a shooting.
Yeah, it would have possibly. I mean, I think Austin cops tase first, and
Okay.
then yeah.
So who drew Batcat?
I got that at Goodwill. No one drew that. I was like, this is creepy.
It's just a cat with its shadow, right?
But when I was looking at it at the time, I thought it had wings. I was like, oh yeah, Batcat. This is Batcat. You can buy this if you'd like.
Yeah, I was really confused by that too. I was like, what the fuck is he
But
talking
then
about?
when I saw in the edit, I was like, what the fuck was I thinking when I did
I
that?
thought you were just doing it to be like extra weird and creepy.
I mean, I didn't need any extra weird or creepy. I mean, I would have said, oh yeah, this is my cat that I draw all the time or something like that. But it ended up, yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
This is the man.
He is rather large
Look
compared to
at
you.
how big he's huge. And it's not like,
Aaron's already over 6 feet. What, you're 6 feet, right?
yeah, look how I barely come up to his shoulder. And
that's crazy.
So at that moment, that's when Chris was, I guess, hiding.
Oh
in the
yeah, I
kitchen.
was just about to burst out screaming naked. So
Yeah. So that's fun.
That would have been awesome.
yeah.
But I'm glad you didn't get hurt.
Are you would have liked to see a little tasing.
Well, I would then we'd have to. It would be weird for editing. Who would win?
Yeah.
I think Chris would.
We
win if
would
I
have
got
kept
tasered.
shooting it too.
Yeah, we
would not have gotten out of those cars.
I
We're like,
love-
this is bad, but at least we'll have it on film.
I love people who like pointing you out in the background, Brandon.
Oh,
Like during the survey, they're like, "Oh, look at Brandon chilling out in the
Made
background."
because he looks so shady. He just sits there with a
Yeah.
backpack and he's like, he's kind
I
of
said the
like
backpack
that.
thing was a bad idea, But it did work a lot of times. What really worked was when I was just sitting on the ground and putting my back up to the wall. That's an area called the Drag, and it's right next to campus, and it's famous for drag rats. People who, I don't know if they're not homeless. They just hang out there.
They're
and
just
they
like
beg for
kids
money.
who like live on the streets. Basically.
Yeah, so I just put on a hat, and then to help with my cover story, I put out a cup and I put some dollars in it. And
did you make it? Did anyone put money in your cup?
No.
I would have put money in your cup seeing you because you look like just like clean and not like imposing enough to be like, oh, he's probably just kind of hard on his luck. I would put some change in there.
Yeah, but if you go look at the body bag one, Chris's roommate is in like every shot.
Yeah.
That was weird because they were just following you around with iPhones, cameras,
Yeah.
and nobody
Yeah.
paid
You were
attention to
in
it.
it a good bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to hear a funny story about the body bag thing?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay. You know on the body bag one, I asked out 2 girls.
It gets rejected.
Yeah. So we were meeting up for to go get drinks one Saturday.
This is the night before it was going to premiere too.
Okay.
The night before it came out. I'm the first one to arrive at the meeting place. I'm looking.
What is
around.
it, like a bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you
The
making
meeting
it
place, you
shady?
made
Yeah,
sound
Yeah,
really
it was the
shady.
same place that we were dancing at.
That
Brandon.
secret place that we.
And I saw this girl, and I was like, man, that girl looks really, really familiar. And so I kind of went and ordered my drink, and I was pretty close to her, and I was kind of like looking at her, just maybe creepily, I don't know.
It was the look you just had on your face. Yeah, it was creepy.
But I was trying to figure out where
Chris
I
has
knew
2
her.
faces.
And
It's
but then she
creepy
starts
and like
so she-
happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, but she starts talking to me, and I'm talking to her, and I still the whole time I'm like trying to figure out where I know her from, and then I found out she's a yoga instructor, and there's an episode that we ended up not deciding to do just yet that involved yoga. So I was asking her a lot of questions about yoga, and then Aaron walks up.
Yeah, I walk up and I see Chris at the bar. It was 2 girls that he was with, and I see him talking to this girl, and I'm like, man, she looks really familiar. And then immediately I was like, she was in the episode. She was in the episode. And
There was the 2 girls I tried to ask out.
Oh yeah.
And I go, Chris, do those girls look familiar to you? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I recognize them. I was in the bag when he was talking to them, and I recognized them. And so we sit down. I was like, I'll give you 2 guesses of who they are, but you won't believe me. And so I told him. He's like, oh man. And so he walks up to her. I go, wait. And I stop him, and I'm like, think about what you're gonna say. The last time I saw you 2 ladies, I was dragging a body bag. That's your opener essentially.
They
Like,
were. I mean,
they were luckily.
they remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely remembered him and then didn't scream or anything. And that's essentially how he opened up that conversation. Was like, oh yeah, I was dragging a body last time you saw me.
You guys
Was
remember?
it the vegetarian?
yeah. It was like I can't drag it because I'm
I don't eat meat.
allergic to
Yeah.
meat or whatever she said. Yeah, but yeah, that was the night before that it aired. We knew it was a good omen.
Yeah, that's a really weird,
Yeah, it was-
weird coincidence.
Austin's
Yeah, it
a
was
small
really
town. It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you forget about it, but you run into the same people over and over and over, especially you're at Barbarella's. We've talked about Barbarella's before.
No, we were.
Oh no, we weren't there, but
Yeah.
you do run into a lot of people at that bar.
Yeah, so we ended up at Barbarella's on Saturday night, and it was me.
Like, this past Saturday?
This
the day
past
after
Saturday
Halloween.
night, yeah,
Okay.
day after Halloween. It was me, Paula, Chris, and Blaine, and they were both kind of tired from, I guess, like the previous night. So we're kind of chilling. We ended up Barbarella's. We're like drinking a little bit, but it's like a dance floor. So I'm there with Paula, and I'm trying to do like my customary wiggle when I'm on the dance floor. Like I don't
That's
have
how
like
you dance?
real dance moves, but I can do this. And Chris and Blaine are both pretty like low key, just drinking. And then I look over and I see these 2 girls dancing with one another, and they both have their bodies kind of open to Blaine and Chris. I'm like, why don't you guys go talk to them? They're just sitting there.
Remember this?
I wonder why.
And they're like, I don't know. So then I say something to Paula, and then when I look back, Chris is gone. And then I look over to the girls, and Chris is like in between them, like dancing with his fingers up, with his like really helpless, like happy-go-lucky face.
I know
And,
that
like,
Chris dance. And
I
you
know.
did that. I was like, oh yeah, I know. I know what
Yeah,
you're talking
fingers
about.
up in the air, and it's like whenever Chris is there, he has this face that's so harmless that girls love. And then Blaine's just kind of standing there, doesn't really know what to do. And then eventually the other girl goes up and starts dancing on Blaine, and so he's just like sitting there with his drink, having to like get in the mindset of being drunk. But how'd that work out for you?
I don't remember.
It's so, like Chris is so like non-threatening. Like I think I've said this a few times, but he's so non-threatening sexually that women are like, Yeah, of course, because he's like a brother to them. You know,
I don't think
They
that's
see him-
what
no,
makes.
no, no.
Yeah.
They see them as a brother, and you don't fuck your brother. Usually, you don't. But like they see him as a brother, and they're like, yeah, I can hang out with him, and there's no possibility that I'll sleep with him, like unless I get really drunk, right?
Well, I don't think of it that way.
Well, I guess that's just how I think of it. But,
It's just a matter of perception. Tomato.
yeah,
Yeah, people look to you like I have nothing to fear from him.
that's what I'm saying.
Little do they know.
That's good for you. All right, here, let me read this thing. I want to remind everyone this episode of the podcast is brought to you by. So I was watching. So my wife's getting kind of into like comic book movies. Specifically, she really likes the X-Men, and I really don't know much about comics. I'd never really read comics as a kid, so I really can't provide much information. So we've been watching the movies, and like it kind of blew her mind the other day to think that different superheroes live in the same world, like. The Marvel universe is
yeah.
all together and the DC universe is all together, but there's no overlap there.
Like Superman could fly and visit Batman in like
Right.
an hour.
Right.
Or they
Like-
run into each other at the grocery store. Or some weird
Exactly.
shit.
They're
yeah.
at Barbarella. And
Yeah,
they're like somewhere. But her favorite,
Chris comes up to them and starts dancing on them.
her favorite character from
They wouldn't attack me because apparently I look non-sexually.
You're like a
harmless.
brother.
Wonder Woman would have total faith in you.
Yeah.
But her
Go
favorite,
back to your invisible plane. And just hang out.
married in the sky.
I won't do anything.
But her favorite character in X-Men Days of Future Past was Quicksilver. She liked the idea, like she loved the way that actor played the character and everything. And the other day, she almost asked me the most nerdy question in the world. She caught herself. She said, "So Quicksilver runs really fast." I said, "Yeah, I guess that's his thing." She said, "What about the Flash? What does he do?" I said, "I really don't know. I guess he also just runs really fast." She's like, "So who's faster, Quicksilver or?" Never mind. I don't want to know. She's like, I don't. She's like, "I'm sorry. I started that question." It's like that's just way too much for me.
I just imagine she just dropped whatever she was doing and ran to the bathroom, looked in the mirror. She's like, "Who are you?"
Well, and then the next day, she was like, "So I was doing some reading, and apparently the Flash can run around the world in 5 seconds." But she said, wait a minute, I'm doing it again. She's like, "I'm just stopping."
She's done. She's done. She's gone over the edge.
I was talking about the other day when we were talking about whether mithril or adamantium is harder and whether a lightsaber could cut through,
Which it could not.
So
Adamantium stronger.
that was the
And
determination.
a lightsaber could melt it eventually. It wouldn't be like a clean cut. It would be like, imagine the blast doors in episode 1,
Yeah.
where they stick the lightsabers in and wait for it to melt.
Once adamantium has like dried, you cannot heat it up again.
Yeah, you can.
Its melting point
No,
is
that's not
infinite.
true. That is not true. In some of the X-Men movies,
Chris,
doesn't
we
he-
have never said anything on the podcast that turned out to be not
Listen,
true.
I said
No.
that he was non-threatening sexually. I think all of you guys are, now that I see.
But no, I
You're
think.
here with us.
Yeah.
You're fucking lumped in.
I'm just gonna
But
sit down.
in at least one of the movies, his Wolverine didn't he get his claws cut off?
No, when they're still bone, they get like cut off by Sabretooth. That's in X-Men Origins Wolverine. That's before he has the adamantium.
What you need to do is don't worry with a lightsaber.
And also, you're thinking of when Mystique was copying him in the original X-Men.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Just use the force and rip the adamantium from his bones.
It's not
That's
a
way
it's not
better.
a force thing. It's just like a physics.
Yeah, right. Physics in a superhero universe. It's physics.
It's not just super.
flying
It's
and
also
all that shit.
It's also a Star Wars universe because we have a lightsaber there.
Yeah. Well, it's just like it's combining different fantasy worlds and how do they interact? What's the physics of
Well,
it?
there are superhero physics classes that they teach at different universities.
do not.
That's
Yeah,
total
they don't
bullshit.
tell
No,
Chris
they
that.
absolutely do. And it's
I gotta
like,
go.
there's so much fun.
I'm going back to school, guys.
There's so much fun you can have with that, but then you get to Superman and you're like, this makes no fucking sense. Like
Oh, that's
how
when it doesn't make
No,
sense?
he can fly and then immediately just change direction and then change direction again. It defies all logic.
That's what defies logic?
Yeah.
I mean, if you had enough
It makes no
force,
sense.
Like if you had enough, pushing force
But
or
then
whatever.
there's nothing that
Well,
he's
no-
slowing himself down. Like it's not like all of a sudden he gets really like and like wind resistance slows him
Well,
down. Like it makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense that he's flying. That's the first part.
He can go
No,
to
but
space and
people can
breathe.
fly. You know?
Here's the deal. I think
What?
they're
Some people fly.
Who flies?
Apparently Brandon.
Superman.
No, that's the unbelievable part. So you.
Oh no, Storm flies, but she
These
flies
aren't people.
with like
These are-
she flies with
These
the
aren't
wind.
people.
She
She
uses
puts
wind.
wind up and then she like flows
These
with the
are
wind.
comic book characters.
Right, but
There's
that's the fun
already
of
the
it.
suspension of disbelief
Yes,
at the
but
beginning.
I know,
but
but,
I
like-
do believe that you need to have your suspension of disbelief has to exist within a world, and that you have to obey those laws. And if you disobey
whatever laws they are.
well, it's like
You
you
can
set
set
up
whatever
this
laws
world,
you want, but just
once
obey
you
by
set it
those
up,
laws.
you have to
I'm making a lot of noise.
Yeah, college just have all sorts of bullshit classes.
I took a bullshit class.
Oh, get it. Oh, Gus's beer is
I took a
foaming.
bullshit class when I was in college that just basically involved us watching television. And I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be a lot more
Welcome
fun.
to film school.
Yeah, wasn't that film school?
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a lot more fun than it really was. I didn't go to film school. I didn't do shit. But then it's like after like the first week, you're like, oh, well, this is taking all the fun out of watching these TV shows. Like I really don't want to do this. It's not like we even talked about it a lot. It's just that knowing that it was scheduled, like, oh fuck, I gotta go watch Seinfeld today, or I gotta go watch Alf reruns for the next 2 hours. Like I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, as soon as you start having to do it for work or school, it's no longer fun.
Yeah.
But we had like a 1930s movies class. There was an HBO class.
Oh yeah.
I
guess we all went to the same
There was
school,
a
yeah.
couple of classes where it's like, well, I'm gonna have to get drunk before I go to this class.
Are you talking about Chris and I had this class called? Should I say the name of it? I guess it doesn't matter, right? It's called. It was a weird class.
Say it.
It was called The Uncanny, right? And it was like dealing with things that are
Uncanny.
okay. So for instance, when you see a robot, like a humanoid robot that looks really real, and you kind of go, ugh, that's the uncanny.
Okay, like the
I guess
Uncanny
that's
Valley.
what she said,
Like
or whatever.
or like virtual reality that looks too
Yeah.
close to life, but not close enough to
Right.
where it's like
That's the
Yeah.
uncanny valley,
Right.
essentially, or whatever. So Chris and I took this class that we essentially, how would you describe it? We would.
well, there weren't projects. It was just like we had four assignments, and it's just come up with something that's uncanny. That was the class. Come up with 4 projects that are uncanny.
It was like free form, like something that you take in the 70s, essentially. Like anything goes. One of
As
those
long
classes.
as it's uncanny.
Are you getting to?
Oh,
What
I
are
don't know.
you
You want to talk
getting
about that guy who? So
okay, yeah.
So we.
I'm trying.
So
there's multiple
well, just
things
as an
here.
example, do you ever see that video of me dancing with myself, Brandon?
Rhubarb.
Yeah, that was a project I did for that class.
Like one of the best projects. Like if you can imagine that.
Yeah. So, but it's essentially so the final project is you're supposed to spend like a third of the semester on this final project. It's supposed to be really good. Well, I don't know how you interpret it, but it's supposed to be impressive. But
Oh, okay. So anyway,
I fell asleep.
Chris and I had spent all of our time making this 3D movie that was crazy. It was like a gore film or whatever, and we'd spent all this time. I spilled on myself. Doing this movie, and we'd shown it. Whatever. We were really tired. Chris falls asleep, and this guy comes out with. First of all, he'd missed his first class to present his project, so he's already late on it. He comes out with this tub full of Pepsi, like I guess Pepsi or Coke or something, just this huge sloshing tub. And he comes out with Smarties or what, right?
Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks. That's what it was. So he comes out with Pop Rocks, and his girlfriend's assisting him, and he's in front of maybe 60 or 70 of us, and he gets this tub and he goes, "When I drop these Pop Rocks in this tub, it's going to foam over and it will go everywhere, and you will see like, well, I don't even know how you describe it, magic or physics in action or something like that." So anyway, he throws all of these Pop Rocks that they had unwrapped into this tub. And it does nothing, like absolutely nothing. And there's just silence, right? And so one of the old guys that was auditing the class, he's like 60 or 70, he goes, "God damn it! You wasted our fucking time!" And Chris,
I remember that guy.
Yeah, you remember that guy, the old guy? So Chris like starts waking up like that, and he sees this guy yelling next to him. And I'm like, "Chris, look. And this guy's like, "You are a disgrace to the community and this class, whatever the class was, and we hate you and blah, blah, blah." And he just stopped, right? And Chris and I are just looking.
I
and
was
we're
like, "What the fuck?
yeah, what the fuck is going on?" And I couldn't even explain it to him. And so then they just went down the line, the teacher's aide, the other teacher's aide, the teacher, and they all berated him one by one, telling
like
him
a
how awful he
30-minute
was. Meanwhile, he's
berating.
standing up there with his girlfriend eating Pop Rocks. And he has this look on his face. He can't say anything because he knows he's fucked up. And his girlfriend is just slowly moving away.
She broke
from
up with him, I'm
Yeah,
sure, that
immediately.
night because
So where do we go? Yeah, that's another bullshit class.
Yeah, so
That's-
bullshit
That's where
classes.
we were getting at.
I thought you were going to say at the end it was like a twist, like the uncanny. It's like,
The uncanny was, I don't know.
like that was the thing.
I got you.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. the crazy guy, he was in my screenwriting class, and he wrote a feature spy mystery and like kind of like Spygate. There's like foreign agencies going after everybody. He was like, yeah, it's just, write about what you know. And I'm just like, what
This guy had been taking classes for like 40 years, and he was like, what did he know besides going to class?
No, it was nice. It wasn't his age. He was just crazy.
Well, it's one of the he'd audited the class. He just every year he just came and did it again.
Was it the same class? Like that's his thing. He's like,
Well,
man, I love
every
the uncanny.
semester there was a different it was uncanny one year, and it was like sci-fi mystery. I don't know. It's like a different subject.
Essentially, it was the same class, though. Like, it's the same bullshit every time. But
That's funny. So according to Twitter, according to Lightning Grumpy on Twitter, the first podcast Audible sponsor was 149, and we recommended the Steve Jobs autobiography. Oh, sorry, biography, not autobiography.
that was us, wasn't it? I that's what I read when I was in New Zealand. I had to be a part of that.
Maybe, I don't know. 149, that's almost...
Do I get a
couple
It's
years
commission?
almost
ago?
150 episodes ago. It's almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Wow.
No way. How long have we been doing the video podcast? This version, version 2.0.
A little over 2 years. We
No
started
way.
in September 2012.
Oh man, I was like a little bit chilly when I was walking through here doing the podcast, and I was like, oh, wish I was kind of warmer. And then I remembered doing the show in the old garage.
In the annex.
Yeah, when it was like
You had floor heaters,
40
right?
degrees.
Yeah, we had to
outside.
hide space heaters behind the seats.
No.
to try to keep us warm.
Gus hit a space heater
There was
behind
one over there
his
too.
seat.
But
Isn't that a
That's what
major
happened.
fire issue? Like a space heater on a
Yeah.
carpet or something?
The first time we used it, we blew the circuits.
That was whenever we had the podcast that was like
we had to move it across.
we had to
back
move it next
to
door.
the studio. We blew the breaker outside where at the drop from the city service.
Yeah, and we weren't sure if it
It
was
melted.
Yeah, well, yeah.
we weren't sure if it was just an issue with bad wiring, or if the whole system couldn't handle what we were doing. And it's like, did we just design a whole set and a whole control room and run all these cables, and we can't do the show here?
It turns out that it was wired improperly.
Yeah.
Whoever had set it up just fucked it up and totally did it wrong.
Did you wire it, Gus?
No, I would not do that. I don't fuck with electricity.
Yeah, you
It's
should.
invisible and it can kill you.
Yeah, instantly.
Yeah, there's no way I'm fucking with that. So I'm gonna rewind a bit. We're gonna go back a bit. When you were in college, you worked on another thing called The Wingmen. It was
Yes.
a series following like some college students around, and I wore this shirt today because of The Wingmen. So I've seen it, and I remember in one of the characters' apartments.
Oh, shit.
There's like paintings of centaurs
Yeah,
up on the wall. And I remember when Esther and I were watching it, we thought that's really cool. We should commission an artist to draw us as centaurs, but rock and roll centaurs, and call it Centaurmageddon. So we commissioned Rogue Spider from the website to do our interpretation of
So
that.
the show was me and Zach Ganner and Marshall Rimmer was in it, but it was a group of guys who did a dating advice radio show, and then they get fined by the FCC like thousands and thousands of dollars. So then they start up a dating service to make back the money and get dates for themselves. Aaron's character was their best friend who was engaged, and his wife was an artist and painted both of them as centaurs.
yeah.
So yeah, it was that painting that inspired.
I remember
So
Chris
oh.
told me that. Chris, because the one I have, it's just like I guess it's like charcoal on white.
Show the dog. Best part.
Centaurmageddon.
I have a question.
Yeah,
At
what's your
what
question?
were you descriptive on like how I don't know, risque this painting? Because it's like it's basically like
What is
here.
it?
Let me show you what.
What is
Let
on
me show you
Esther's?
what we look like naked.
hair.
Or
That's hair?
Yeah, it's her hair. It's all flowing. all over
Oh,
the place.
okay. It looked like a mustache. That was just a mustache
well,
or a
I mean,
boob.
I think we got Rogue Spider from the website to draw it. And I think at the time he didn't have much experience drawing in that style, so we sent him a lot of like Boris Vallejo and like old like heavy metal album covers.
Yeah.
Like this is the style we're looking for, and
It's like an Iron
and he
Maiden
nailed it.
cover
Yeah.
almost or something.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that's
makes
the
you
kind
think
of style.
that or like old Dungeons and Dragons like
Oh,
books
yeah.
and stuff like that, like in high fantasy out of like the late 70s, early 80s, like heavy metal, the old animated movie.
Oh,
Like that kind of
I have a
stuff.
question. Would it be weird if I wore that shirt?
I'll sell it to you.
You should sell it on the store.
No, if you made more, if I wore that shirt,
you should
that'd be weird. If
absolutely.
everyone in the company one day just like wore that shirt, would that freak you out?
That'd be a little weird. Yeah. Even I feel weird wearing it because sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's a cool shirt. What is it?" Like, "Oh, it's my wife and I as rock and roll centaurs, and our
Well, that's
dog
her-
is some kind of evil fairy."
And that's her hair, not her mustache.
Not her mustache on her boob.
Have you ever worn your Che Guevara shirt in public?
No, I have not done
absolutely-
that.
I would wear
should.
that all the time if I were you. Just,
I should.
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think Rogue Spider, he did the portraits of us. If you
Yeah.
guys have ever seen
Oh, no.
the single,
That's Mental Fusion.
that's Mental Fusion.
Does those.
Well, they
Ooh.
both got plugs, so everybody wins.
Get your shit together.
I know. Now I'm a fucking
He was trying
amateur
to get a
hour
good
here.
segue going, and then I was just like, bam.
Then nothing.
There's no segue. See, now we're in a
No,
moment.
he was trying to like add on, like he knew something as well about the subject.
Oh, I just wanted to give credit. I just like spreading. So speaking of embarrassing moments, so Friday night was Halloween, and I couldn't stay out that late because my girlfriend had to get up really early and work. So we didn't go too crazy. And then it was Saturday night, and we're like, well, this is Austin, and whenever there's Halloween, people just party all weekend. So even though it's November 1st, everybody's going to be dressed up. So we put on our costumes, and she was in a very, very baggy pug costume, like pug outfit. And then I had like this giant net, like I was a dog catcher, and like
So
Dickies.
before you continue, you had different costumes for Halloween and the day after Halloween?
Well, it was fucking cold on Halloween because I was wearing spandex and she was just wearing like a small skirt and a short blouse. So we kind of improvised. She already had that
I was gonna
costume.
say, so she improvised a pug costume?
Yeah, she already had that pug costume in her dresser. I remember like looking for socks and finding that and being like, well, we'll let this one go. So she had that, and I was like, well, how can I accessorize that? So I put together the dog catcher thing. So we put on these costumes, and then we went downtown, took a lift, and it's F1 weekend, big race. So there's tons of people downtown because they closed whole sections. So when we get out of the car, there's about 200 people next to us, just kind of like checking everything out. And not one of them are in costume. It's the two of us in a giant pug outfit, and then me in my stupid net, and then a bunch of people just staring at us and giving us really weird looks. And then I immediately called another lift, and then we went back home. I changed, and then we came back out, and that's when we met you.
Yeah,
that's,
why did you
that's
think
the
that was a
giant
thi-
pug
why did you
outfit.
think that was
No,
a
to be
thing?
fair,
that does happen.
that happens. Well, especially
I
if
thought it's happened before.
here's what happens: if Halloween happens on like a Monday, then people dress up all weekend.
Well, or
Like
Halloween's
leading
on a
up to it.
Sunday.
Yes.
Halloween's on a Sunday. They'll dress up Friday, Saturday.
Where are these
Sunday.
rules?
They're college. Where the hell were you in college?
I don't remember. That was
Sometimes you dress up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if it was on a Sunday. You just work
You can
too
go.
much.
You can dress up any day of the week leading up to Halloween.
the worst part is our Lyft driver there was like, oh yeah, tons of people are dressed up. And we're like, really? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
He was fucking with you.
just making
and then the Lyft
conversation.
driver back, they were like,
He was like, I'm
"You
gonna get
guys
another-"
are the only ones dressed up that I've seen all night.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna get another ride.
Yeah.
That night, I went out to a party. Then afterwards, I went to on Halloween night. I went out to a party. Then afterwards, I went to Starseeds, the 24-hour diner.
Oh yeah.
And I drunkenly ate some food with my wife and some friends. And when we were all done, I was gonna just head back to my place. And Alan was with us, Alan Abdeen, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna get an Uber and take an Uber back to my place." And we looked, and the surge charge was 10 times normal
What?
price.
Assholes.
Paula's friend paid $120 to get back to the apartment, and it's a 5-minute walk.
Oh my god!
That's
what-
That's how much it was.
Yeah, 120.
Yeah, we watched it
bucks.
going up. Like the first time we checked, it was 8.4. He's like, "That's crazy. Let's refresh it." 9.1. That's higher than I've ever seen. What is it now? 10. Like it was 10.0.
Wait, so was that with Uber? you
That was
said?
Uber, yeah.
Does Lyft do something similar or no? Do they like?
It can, but I've never seen the prices get that high.
I
Like
mean-
there will be times where it's like this is a
See,
in demand
that's-
time,
That is a good thing about like taxi cabs is their price doesn't escalate.
right?
but they don't exist either.
They're hard
Yes,
to get.
Yeah.
exactly. It'll be like, there's a 3-hour wait for a cab.
No, and they tell you use the app, so then you book it, and in the app it also tells you your cab driver might just pick up somebody randomly and not pick you up.
Yeah,
And it's like, don't tell me that in the app. Like, don't let me at least hope.
Yeah.
But I mean, they just don't show up sometimes. Like some of those cab companies. I mean, you'll have it booked. They'll be like, yeah. You know, if you speak to someone on the phone, they'll be like, yeah, I'll be there at 10 p.m. or whatever. And then they just won't show.
Yeah,
And then
I sometimes I take a cab to the airport and I just freak out. I'm like, are they going to show up? Are they not going to show up? Like, am I going to have to get in my car at the last minute? It's such a stupid business.
That's why you do Lyft, because you're like,
No,
the guy's right
robot
there.
cars, guys.
again.
No. Let's see how many Lyft drivers
Alan
are
ended up
nearby.
taking a car to go, which is like like another like car share service where you just get in a car and
Yeah,
drive
book
it.
the car to go, and like it'll be waiting for you. You just hop
No,
in.
it doesn't disappear.
Yeah.
because you just like reserve it and it like locks itself.
It locks
and it's
itself.
yours.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to request a Lyft.
So
Let's see how
Lauren
long.
drew you, Aaron.
Oh,
drew you
great.
driving your car.
That's exactly what I
And
look like.
It says you can be this cool too, probably.
No, but what she's missing is all the paint and the
tape.
And the tape.
There is some masking tape on the window that she drew.
I like how she does have the lack of women in the picture. That's pretty cool.
The lack of women.
See, Isaac would arrive in 4 minutes. I'm sorry, Isaac. I need to cancel this ride.
See, this is the problem.
No, you're a fucking jerk.
This is the problem. People booking them
No,
on
I'm not a
podcasts
jerk. I
and-
use Lyft like at least twice a weekend because I got to go and come back.
bragging.
No, I am a dedicated customer. Although I'm super paranoid because I never see how they rate me because they rate you.
they
as
rate you.
well.
Yeah.
Because like I'll like sometimes I'll give somebody 3 stars if I don't want to have them again if their like car is really shitty. But it's just like, how do they rate? Like how much? What can I
So-
do to see that?
As a passenger, you cannot see your own rating, correct?
No.
But as a driver, they can see your rating. when
Yeah,
they
and
don't
so
wanna
they
pick you
decide
up.
whether or not they want to pick you up or not.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just want to know how I rank.
Wait, what makes a... sorry, go ahead.
So like I kind of fucked up with this whole Uber thing because for a long time you couldn't get Uber in Austin.
Yeah.
And the first time I tried to use it, I finally downloaded it and I signed up. I was in Melbourne, Australia. So now Uber thinks I live in Australia. So like all the emails they send me are relevant to Melbourne. It's like no, I really live in Austin. I just happen to be in Australia at the time and I cannot get it fixed. I don't know why.
They would just
They don't
lock
care.
your
I'm
account. They're
locked
like,
in. I'm an Australian.
someone got it in Austin. We'll lock it for you, Mr. Australia.
Yeah.
They really don't care. I didn't really know what I was doing with Lyft when I first downloaded it. I didn't think I would ever use it. So it was like, take a picture of yourself. So I took a picture and it's like super creepy and awkward because it's just like this low angle. I'm making this really weird face. And I was like, I'll just change this later. There's no way. You cannot change that picture. So every time someone chooses to pick me up, they see that. And I always
oh
think
my
they're just
god! I better bring the rape spray.
What?
What the rape? You know,
Let's explore this.
pepper spray. Like pepper spray. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
You have people snorting off camera.
All right, I want to leave. I gotta pay my bills.
Yeah, I gotta pay my rent.
Got to get an Uber to take me. So I went to. I'm gonna take you away from this, Chris. I'm gonna save you. I went out to the laser team set earlier today because we have some people from the infamous 535 visiting, and Bernie, that asshole.
That sound okay. Can I just say that the infamous 535 sounds like a flight that bombed or something, and or crashed.
Or like there was rape spray in it. And like, the pilot got it right.
No, but like
Yeah.
flights are always like 3 numbers, and to say like
They're not always 3 numbers.
aren't they? Oh,
No, what it sounds
Okay.
like to me is a firefighting unit.
Yeah, I can
Like,
see that.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like the New York, the infamous 535.
but infamous is different than famous. Like it infamous suggests like something
No,
bad.
That's why they're 2
that
different
is
words.
what the word means. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Go on.
So these are people who. These are the people who broke our Indiegogo campaign, basically, where we had the $5 perk where you could come, be an extra, and tour the studio. And there was only supposed to be 1, but the system allowed for 535 of them to be processed. So Bernie, that asshole, when he wrote up the description for the perk, also indicated you get 1 free hug from Gus.
Oh my God. Is that legally binding?
So I would feel bad if I didn't do it. So I went out there to set today, and I hugged as many people as I could. It was like there was a line. And like the PAs, and then we were like, is this okay, Mr. Sorola? Do you want us to get rid of them? Do you want to go somewhere else? Like, no. I'm here to hug everyone.
It's like a Gus Sorola gangbang.
And people kept walking up. They're like, I can't believe you agreed to do this. And I said, I didn't agree to do this. Bernie just wrote it, and I'm here hugging people now.
Did you fake a smile, or was it just like the typical like Gus frown? Like,
No. I was happy to be out there. It was cool to go out there and see what they were filming. I only spent, I think, 2 days on the set previously. So then going back out and seeing, what they were filming is really impressive.
Your part in the movie is really funny, though.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I've walked by. We have some people working on editing it already, and I'll walk by their stations every now and then and get like little glimpses of myself.
You're looking sexy in it. Looks good.
I look good.
I had one of the coolest exchanges with a fan I've ever had at Rooster Teeth on set. It was this kid from Killeen, and he was a big fan of us. He was also a big fan of like movies. It's kind of what he wants to do. And he was like, honestly, I really love being here because it's like a movie set. You guys being here is good, but it's definitely number 2 in terms of like why I want to be here. The fact that it's a movie set is number 1. And I don't know if people would think that's like offensive at first, but it was actually like the best answer I have ever heard in my life. Like he wanted to be there just because he likes movies, not because it's Rooster Teeth.
There's passion behind that.
Yeah,
It's like
it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like he was excited by the set and about that this is real production because I don't know how many behind the scenes pictures we've released, but there's like, 5 trailers. There's, 10 different, like 18-wheelers there full of like grip equipment. It's like a crew of like 50.
Craft services. I'm just going to.
The craft service is really
It's
good.
really
Chris
good.
goes there, I think, every day, and he just has dinner, and then he just leaves. I think that's what he does.
No, but I have gone and gotten, and I was like, man, these are just good yummies.
Good yummies.
Oh God.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Like you figure it's gonna be like shitty food and just whatever.
It's good tasty.
It's really
It's
good. Like,
good.
I feel like they don't just like we're going on and on about these people. They don't just bring food in. It's like they cook it there in that one trailer and then just like bring it out.
Yeah,
and they make food for everyone.
I think in film school, someone said something about
Gross.
like a set is. What is that? Is that
Sorry,
Brandon?
I was
Go
commenting
on.
on
No, let's finish this and we'll get to that.
But like a film production is made or it's broken by craft services. Like if your crew isn't happy within
That's
reason.
fucking stupid.
But but if your crew isn't happy, like it's a metaphor essentially. Like if you don't
It's a
spend
bad metaphor.
But if you don't spend the time on like a nice sandwich or something or whatever, then they'll
It's
be like,
if you don't take care of the people who are supposed to be taking care of you, they're not going to do their job.
thank you, Gus.
No, I
You're an
totally
asshole,
agree.
Brandon.
Okay, yeah.
I could see that.
He's the one that would feed them gruel. He's
No.
like, oh, we have plenty of gruel for all of the, the film people here. You like gruel?
Gruel and a banana.
Gruel and a banana.
You know why? It's because I see those receipts. Food adds up. People don't understand how expensive
That's
food on a set is.
That's what someone who
Bananas
would
are
serve
good,
gruel
by the
would
way.
say.
I like
Bananas are great, but it's like pizza again today. But yeah.
Do you not want pizza? You fucking ate the pizza. You're over here bitching about how expensive it is, but you sat over there and ate like 3 slices.
I wasn't complaining. I was just saying, as somebody who pays for this stuff, I understand why you like buying pizza. It's
gonna be
because it's
podcast
very
gruel.
cheap and it feeds a lot of people.
It's good pizza.
It is good.
good pizza.
I'm just saying it's also very affordable. Everybody wins.
It's easy is the reason you get it. It's like we don't want to have to pass around a fucking order menu for everyone
that's true.
to indicate what they want.
Oh God, when we shot 10 Little Roosters, someone was like, can we do which? And I was like, okay. Like I never said no when people wanted something specific. And it's hard enough to order which when you're there because you have like the giant questionnaire of what you want.
Right.
But people were at my computer and like going through, like scrolling one by one to see all the little ingredients they had. And then they kept trying to joke and have conversations on top of it. It was like, no, concentrate. And like ordering which took like half an hour.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember back when we were still in the Congress office, we used to live and die by that Chipotle fax menu. Mm-hmm. It was like we would have like a stack of them in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like you could just write, and it was super easy. You wrote your name, and it's like you indicated protein, meal, and like accessories, accessories. But like
Jewelry,
the
anything you wanted.
Yeah,
it was super easy and super
Yeah.
fast. You fax it in, just pick it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
but
don't
it's
have
not
a
as
fax
big as it
machine
could
anymore.
be.
Like we don't.
If you go in person, you can get a really big burrito.
No.
I'm just saying.
God damn it.
If you order it on they're gonna give the bare minimum of. But if you go in person, you can really.
Have we talked
You're
about
a-
this on the podcast?
I don't
You're a
know.
pusher though.
You're-
You bully.
Chris-
you bully them.
Chris
into
bullies-
giving you
Hey.
more food.
Like so they'll put, let's say you go, you're like, what do you want? A burrito. This is Chris ordering a burrito. Okay, they put it in the thing, they heat it up. What kind of beans do you want? Black. Okay. Can you put more than that?
That's right.
And then what kind of rice do you want? Cilantro lime. Okay. Can you put more than that? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like everything is double every
Yeah,
single
yeah.
stop.
And the whole time he's holding like a customer survey
except for
form,
meat.
waving it.
Except for meat. That's where
Yeah,
you draw the
because
line.
they charge extra for meat. But Blaine, He was like, oh, what you do is you order half and half, and they always end up giving you almost a full serving of both. I haven't done that yet, but we'll see.
I've never thought to do that.
Yeah, I never thought of doing it either. But they already have a hard enough time closing my burritos, though, so I don't know.
Your burritos don't close.
They do not
we
close.
made a pretty
They
fun,
break the burrito, and then they're like, I'm sorry. I'm like, no,
There's a
it's
pretty
cool.
fun RT
Then they have to
Life.
put another tortilla on there.
I'm like, you just throw it on top. I don't care.
There was a pretty funny RT Life about that when we got your burrito back to the office.
Oh, it
and it
was
was the
big.
size of a small child.
It was big. I was really proud of that one.
The worst thing is he pays with coupons too every time. So
No,
like they
I
do
do
all this
not.
double stuff, and then he's like, "Oh, and this is a free burrito." Like he does it every
No.
time. Every time.
No,
That's true.
Well, I will say this: on Halloween, if you wear a costume, it's only $3. So I did get a $3 burrito. That was pretty big.
Bernie got so fed up with Chris, he threw away all of Chris's Chick-fil-A calendars because they had like a discount for like every month. Because we just had like in
We
our
had a
area
stack of 'em.
upstairs a huge stack of Chipotle
No Chick-fil-A.
calendar. I'm sorry, Chick-fil-A.
Actually, it was
calendars.
Jersey Mike's, but
No, it was. I remember
might have been
'cause
both.
All the cows were like in really like ironic.
yeah, but there's also
Poses.
Jersey Mike's that got thrown away.
They didn't have a calendar though, do they?
They both
Jesus,
did.
how many calendars did you have?
I'm just saying.
Chris
All right.
has. I remember seeing a folder one time in college of Chris's coupons. Like he has a coupon folder, and I mean it's
This
thick.
is in college. I don't have it anymore.
Yeah, it's double the size now. But like he has this folder. It's got to be probably about that thick by now, and it's just I don't know if it's alphabetized or what, but it has everything. Like it is. I mean, it's a gold mine for anyone looking for value.
Yeah, I was way better about it in college when I was like completely broke.
But I see you pay with coupons all the damn time now.
Do
Like,
you-
there's
are
nothing-
you a fan of like those extreme couponing TV shows?
No,
or
I don't
anything?
do any of that. I just
'Cause
like
they're
I check my
amateurs.
mail because they send you stuff in the mail all the time. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll put that in my cart, and I just leave it in my cart. And then when I'm hungry, I'm like, well, all right, I'll go here because, you know.
I think Chris bought a house with a coupon.
It's like that lady from the Honey Boo Boo show. Have you seen her? No
What are you
one
talking
watches
about?
that show.
No.
I know who Honey Boo Boo
I know.
is.
I know what it is.
Yeah, it's like the mom. That's all she does is just like
Oh, yeah?
go to the store. You guys should watch the show. It's pretty good.
I've
Is
seen
it?
an episode.
Yeah, it's canceled now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because she got like, I'm not gonna say
Too much boo boo.
what happened to her.
She got back allegedly. I don't know the full story. She got back together with an ex who had spent time in jail for child molestation, and supposedly it was with one of her daughters.
That's really gross.
That's
Hey, put
rough.
it back up.
I want to make a.
No,
dying.
just leave it.
So I did want to point out that we have, going back to an earlier conversation, we have Brandon's Uber or Lyft profile picture.
I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was just maybe like an internet icon that my friends are
I
gonna
like
see.
it.
But now every time I ask for a Lyft, there's like 20 Lyft drivers that are driving around, and my little picture pops up, and they're like, "Do you want to accept a ride from this guy?"
I like that it's like in our office with our wood paneling that looks like it's from Psycho.
Yeah,
You're in a
it's,
basement.
It's tough. Like you almost see the rhino we have hanging up there, but it's just not quite in frame. Our only piece of decoration in the office.
One time when I took a cab, I've told this story a long time ago on the podcast, but one time when our office was still on Congress, I used to take the bus to and from my the house I was renting at the time because it was really convenient. I didn't like to drive, but one night I had to work late. I missed the last bus. So I was like, I'm just going to get a cab. I'll take a cab back to my place. I got in the cab, and as soon as I got in, the cab driver was listening to like Alex Jones. I was like, okay, it's going to be an interesting ride. And the whole trip, the cab driver just kept staring at me in the rear view mirror.
Oh my
and
God.
like not looking at the road, just looking at me, telling me how he was going to put the light in me.
What?
And it was like, oh my God. I was like, I really don't want this guy knowing where I live.
No, I know. So you're just like, you just drive to Jeff's house.
It was like, I
just
thought
drop
about
me off here.
I thought about just being like, all right here's fine. Like, just he's like, we've only gone a block, sir. No, this is
Did you have your rape spray?
So like, yeah, I had him drop me off like at a convenience store close to my house, and I just like walked home. I was like, that guy was fucking crazy. But it's like that's the opposite. If you get in a cab, you don't have the luxury of seeing if the person's got a crazy picture
You
or not.
know the cab driver's crazy though. I was in Vegas one time and I had to sit in the front because it was just like me and these like my girlfriend at the time and like 4 or 5 of her friends, and I was making conversation. And this was right after a guy had flown a plane into the IRS building in Austin. So I'd say like, we're from Austin, and he like kind of brings that up. I was like, yeah, it happened. It was pretty crazy. Like what a psycho. And then the cab driver kind of looks at me. He's kind of quiet for a second. He's like, well, some people might call him a hero. I was like, what? He was like, well, you know what the government does? It's like they don't have the right to do that. Sometimes you have to make a really dramatic gesture. And by this time, everybody in the cab, like all the girls stopped talking, and everybody just looked up at me, and we all sat there, and I was like, actually, this hotel's fine. And then we drove in, and we had to wait to get up to the lobby.
Let's not be a hero.
Like, no, we'll get out right now.
Yeah. That's
I don't know if they do that to mess with you. Maybe they mess with us. Like we mess with people on Smite a lot when we play online.
we do. We have fun with that.
You want to tell them?
So normally when we get into Smite, like before your game starts, you're grouped up, and then there's like a lobby where y'all can chat. Brandon loves typing, "This is my first game, LOL," and then I'll normally write, "What button is attack?" And then people will say left click, and I write click, question mark.
And then Barbara got in, and then we're like ASL, and it was just like everybody else was just like, fuck.
It was like, yeah, you're stuck with these idiots, and then when you get to the actual loading screen, you see, oh, these people have actually played a fair amount.
Yeah.
But Brandon, like, we always try to make each other laugh. Like, we sit in the same gameplay room over here, and we'll try to say stuff in chat that makes everyone else in the room laugh.
I think it's just because, like, 10 years of Xbox Live and, like, listening to kids. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. It's like, I then every match, and it still makes me laugh. Man, it's the little things in life, Gus, that make everything else bearable.
Did you, have you played any of the Evolve Alpha?
I have not, no.
The game's really fucking fun. I played it all weekend long. It's good. I don't have anything else to say since someone else played it, but it's a good game. You get to be a monster, or you can be people.
What kind of monsters?
There's 2 monsters available right now in the alpha. Either Goliath or another one that looks like a big squid. I can't remember the name. Kraken. There you go. Oh, thank you.
Krakens are big, man. Everybody loves Krakens.
We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
About how Krakens were really popular for a while.
Yeah.
And then they went away, and now they're back.
Is this like 10 years ago or something that they were popular, or what?
No, it's just everywhere you go, there's Krakens. And like all the movies.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you summon the Kraken.
Yeah, you summon it.
Is that why it's popular? You summon it?
Got popular because of
it's like Beetlejuice. You just Kraken.
What is that movie? The
Pirates of the Caribbean?
Something like that, where they always summon a Kraken. It's like, bring in the Kraken, summon it.
It's funny. It's like, as a writer, you realize how lazy that is. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do here?
Summon a
How do we
Kraken.
get rid of this? Kraken shows up.
But really, Krakens are scary. I mean, they are. So big, like, sea monster, right?
Yeah, well, the sea, the ocean in general is scary to me.
Well, because you have such little
the ocean's
control.
terrifying.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't even have. It's not even that we don't have control. It's that we just don't fucking know. It's like shit washes up, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?"
I don't know.
Every one of those documentaries you see on ocean life on the bottom, everything they show is from a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like every single thing. There's not like, oh, and this is the pleasant,
No,
There are no
sea
cute
fluffing.
things at the bottom of the ocean.
No.
None of them are cute. They're all like,
They're all
these are the
terrifying.
things that are of your nightmare. Yeah.
Like there was a video on Reddit a couple of weeks ago of this thing. It was like a monstrosity. It had washed up like on a beach in Singapore, and it looked like a mass of snakes all intertwined, and it was just like all writhing.
It's a tentacruel.
What?
Or it's a Pokemon, sorry.
And it was like, and it looked like it was fake. It looked like something, like you said, like out of a nightmare or out of like a horror movie. It's like, no, this is a real thing that lives, and we just don't ever see it.
Yeah.
And you imagine like you're swimming out in open water or something, like if you had a nice boat and you're out in the Pacific and you're just swimming with a tentacruel or whatever it is, and it's just like, you don't know it's there.
Or something brushes your leg and you're like, oh, it's probably a playful dolphin. No.
Keep going.
Even if
Never
it was a
playful
whale,
dolphin.
even if it was a whale, I'd be scared shitless.
Even if it was a dolphin, I might be scared because, like, what does a dolphin want?
Does it have any spray?
Dolphins can be mean.
I guess the way that the ocean makes sense to me, it's like if you're a fish and you get attacked, you're dead. You're done, right? It's like if you get hit by a car in real life. So you're crossing a street, you look to your left, you look to your right. But in the ocean, it's like, well, look above you. See if a car is going to fall on your head. Or, hey, is a car rising from the ground? It's like every axis, there is something coming after you. And then at the time where you're paranoid about everything attacking you, you're also really hungry. And you're looking to attack other stuff. Like, it stresses me out thinking about it.
Okay, wait, I just had a thing. This is really dumb. Don't fish get thirsty? What do fish drink?
Sand.
I'm just saying. I know they're in salt water, okay, but do they just? Okay, I want to. Do they drink salt
hard
water,
liquor, Chris?
Do they drink salt water? Is that what they drink? Do they just? How do they process?
Maybe they don't need
it?
a drink.
No, they have. Like
Why?
what? Do they just drink? I guess they just process salt water, huh?
Oh.
How do I have a show with you? Like, how do we get like anything made?
Well, I mean, but you don't know the answer to that either, right?
No, I'm
fish-
serious.
No,
Like,
but I'm not saying
do
anything.
fish
Yeah,
just
yeah.
process salt water? Is that what their deal is?
Maybe they don't need water.
do they
Maybe
not
because they're
need-
in the water
Because they're
environment.
always hydrated. Maybe they just it's like osmosis and they just absorb. Like how do
Define osmosis.
as osmosis is something that it's basically absorbs by by being next to it. So it's like it's not drank. It's just like skin.
No, that's right. That's
Yeah,
true.
you
That's
just
right.
I think
absorb
that's
it.
exactly what my biology textbook said in high
Yeah.
school.
Really?
It's
It's
the
like a-
process of the thing with next to it and the thing. What does it say?
Someone just give me a note that says, "Hi, my name is Gavin."
Oh, you're our Gavin.
No, but well, fine. But I'm serious. Like, salt water is like it makes you thirsty. All it does is make you thirsty.
Right, but these are creatures that live in salt
Yeah,
water, so
yeah,
they're
like,
adapted
we're
to
not-
it.
It makes you thirsty, Chris. It doesn't make a fish thirsty. Like fish are fine. They're just they're moist. That's all they need.
Right, like if you were in a swimming pool, you'd never get thirsty
Why? What do you mean?
because you got water all around you. Osmosis.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. All right. Let's
Put that back on your shirt.
I don't know. I have no idea. If anybody on Twitter knows, they can tweet us with hashtag
What
RT
a fish
Podcast.
does when it's thirsty.
Someone says, like Jay Volton says, saltwater fish get their water from what they eat. But what do those fish get their water
Yeah,
from?
exactly.
It's like,
There's someone who's like, they're all fucking thirsty and they're in the ocean. They're like, God damn, I wish it would rain.
Well, no, there has to be some fish that everybody's eating that's like has a stash somewhere
Yeah.
of like fresh water that he's holding out on everyone else.
Just as like water fish that's like, I'm always getting eaten. They just need me.
it's like, man, I'm really thirsty. I could go for a bite to eat. So someone told me, I told you about the writhing mass of snakes. I guess they're called basket stars. And I have an image here. The image is not moving. It's a GIF that's still loading. But if you can imagine that, but
Holy
every single
shit.
part of it writhing around.
Oh
Just
my god!
looks like a bunch of ribbon.
Oh, there it goes.
I'm so scared of the ocean because
Whoa.
it's like,
Look
if
at that.
something.
So yeah, that's a real thing.
That's one thing.
That's
That isn't a
one
bunch
thing.
of things
Oh, look,
together.
there's- yeah, that's one thing. It's called a basket star.
Looks thirsty.
It's got a great name.
It looks thirsty
Yeah.
to me. I don't know. It's like okay, so
So, wait, real fast. Thanks to Noobs28, Brandon Newberger, for telling me basket stars.
Thank you.
the ability to fight in the water.
Right.
You try and punch something. Have you ever tried to punch something in
I
the
actually
water?
have, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. You just slowly touch it.
Yeah.
It's like
You go for the eyes, Chris.
Yeah, you got to gouge out the shark's eyes.
Yeah. Oh, I thought
I
we were
heard you
talking
go for
about
the
people.
nose.
Oh yeah, people too.
I'm just saying it's like the ocean is.
No, get out of the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't get it. People want to go like scuba diving. It's like, why? You are not supposed to. You evolved on the ground, like on land. Like you should not be anywhere near the ocean. Like everything about your body is designed to keep you from the ocean.
Yeah.
People are. Ugh.
People skydive and stuff too, though. It's like,
And that's also dumb. Why
but
would you say?
to
why
be
would you
fair,
jump out of
when
a
you're
plane?
skydiving, you're heading back towards the ground. When you're in the ocean, if you generally head back away from the ocean.
you float towards the surface.
Not if you're drowning. You
Wait,
go down towards the bottom of the ocean.
no, I think you're still float. You'll just drown.
But you float like
Yeah,
partway
upside
underwater.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Okay, that was much better than last time.
Gus, when you took calculus in high school, did you guys have like the TI 89s calculators?
No, we didn't have 89s. We had
81s.
83. I'm not that old. Come on. We had 83s and 84s.
What, did you know the models and when they came out?
Yeah, 84s were brand new, I think, when.
When did the 81s come out?
I think 81s are really old.
Well, I think there was,
So yeah, I had TI 80, whatever. I think I used an 83.
and they're like $70.
Fuck, back then it was like 120, but yeah.
You were required, like you had to have
yeah,
it.
well, you didn't have to, but you were pretty much fucked if you didn't.
Yeah. So there was this kid I think it was in Austin. He and his friends stole $20,000 worth of graphing calculators from a school and then tried to sell them. That's the graphing calculator. Then tried to sell them.
That's a graphing calculator? That's a weird looking graphing calculator.
And then tried to sell them on Craigslist.
Like all at once or one at a
all
time?
at once, and then got caught. But that's such a good idea because, like, they're so expensive. Like, they're unbelievably
And kids
expensive.
need
And
them.
there's just like, they're like, everybody needs them. And like, you go to a school and they just have like tons of them.
But they have,
like,
like,
it's genius. It's the perfect crime.
Except for if you get caught.
Well, yeah.
He did that classic mistake when you steal something, you go immediately to the pawn store. Like, you don't sell your TI-80 whatevers immediately.
If you steal like 100 of them, sell them one at a time.
Yeah, just sell them one at a time. You still make some good money. I
Or
mean,
don't
like,
put
hey,
I got on Craigslist for sale 100 TI-83s, not stolen.
Yeah. Stolen
Wink.
at all.
Show up at the school the next day saying, I hear you need calculators.
I'm the door-to-door calculator salesman.
Yeah.
I'm here to make you a deal. That's so dumb. Why would you try to sell them all at once? I guess the guy did not look like the brightest person.
Yeah. That was a good mugshot, though.
I can't believe that the school had calculators. Maybe there he is again. Maybe I just went to a really cheap school, but our school didn't provide us with
No,
calculators.
ours
No,
didn't
no,
either.
they
Ours
didn't
was pretty shitty.
No.
And
Yeah.
it was crazy that you had to.
I bought my I bought my calculator for like $40 at a pawn shop.
The thing I don't understand is why are
Probably
these calculators so
I
expensive?
know.
Like when I was in high school a long time ago, they were old calculators at that time.
Yeah.
And they're still like
They
70,
don't upgrade them.
$80.
Because you're still doing the same math with them.
Well,
Right,
they
but it's
add more games to them, though.
The components should be really cheap by this point. It's like a shitty LCD display, like $2 of
You're right.
components
No,
on the
you're right.
inside.
Because
It's only
it's like-
one
it's-
company that makes them. Like,
Texas
no one
Instruments,
else
yeah.
has decided, like, why don't we start making calculators?
HP makes some as well, I think.
Is it similar to like a textbook thing where they're like, you need it, and there's like a high cost of developing it or whatever / writing it if it's a textbook, and so they're like, we'll just hit you with this huge. Is that what it is, or I don't know.
They can do more complex problems now? More memory? Yeah, but I'm still talking. So Cole in the control room is telling me that the calculators now have more memory and you can do more complex problems.
No, they hold more
But
games.
It's,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
games.
that's true, but they still only have like 30 megs of memory, maybe, and they're still the same model number. It's like if you buy a brand new TI-83 today, it's still super fucking expensive. There's
Yeah.
no reason
They'll
it should
always
cost
keep it that much.
Right.
It's crazy to me too. It's like that was in public school, like when I needed one in high school, and it's when you're paying like $100 or something for a calculator. That's really expensive for public school. Like you shouldn't have to pay anything like that.
I mean, it's also free school.
Yeah, but it's
Free
If you
in
could pay
air
$100 for a
quotes.
calculator, you probably would go to non-free school.
If you pay
I don't know.
$100 for a calculator, you can't afford not
No,
free
the
school.
cool thing here's the deal. I have no problem with calculators being expensive because when you have teachers don't allow you to have a cell phone in the middle in class. They do allow calculators, and you can put games on your calculators. So it's basically an excuse to play games in the middle of class.
And there's some of them are educational. Like I had a game where it was like I had
Yeah,
a
I'm
business
sure-
and I had to manage employees. I was a pimp, but nevertheless,
No,
it was
yeah,
a pretty,
like
it was
drug
pretty
war,
sophisticated.
drug something.
Yeah, it was the same game.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in middle school, I convinced my class that I wrote snakes.
Oh. Really?
Yeah,
You went to a dumb
I wrote
school.
snakes and gorillas because I knew enough basic to change some of like the modifiers in the game. Like, oh yeah, see, I can change it for you. And they're like, oh wow, yeah, this is a really great game. I wonder if like to this day, like to see it on like a Nokia phone, they're like, yeah, Gus made that game.
Unless they're listening to this podcast and
No,
like they lived a
they're-
lie.
Yeah, you
Everyone
ruined
I
it.
went to school with is too stupid to listen to a podcast.
I used to come up. I can't remember it.
My school was so stupid.
I did the same thing, Gus, where I'd tell people I made stuff and invented things.
Like rape spray. Like he was the first one to like put that in a bottle.
No,
You know, and so like the school I went to was really, really dumb and super, like I don't know the word to describe it. Like super tough. Like
Did you
there were
make-
constant fights, and I don't know how I got through that school, but we had like plastic lunch cards. They were kind of like credit cards. So when you went to pay for your lunch, you would like swipe it, and it would debit from your meal account. But what all the students started doing was they would take hole punchers and like carve off an edge on it. That way it was sharp and had like a little hook. That way when you fought, you could use it like a knife.
what?
Yeah.
Did you go to prison? Like,
So
is
it's
that-
like they would make like these little impromptu knives, and they couldn't take it away from them because it was their meal card. And then girls would like use hole punchers on they would grow their fingernails long and use hole punchers on the tips. That way each fingernail
Good
became
Lord,
like two little
Gus.
stabbing points. And when they would get in fights, it would just be like super bloody because they'd scratch each other and like blood and hair and shit would go everywhere. One time when I was a sophomore.
When you were fighting for your life.
I was a sophomore. We actually had a school shooting in my school. Like a girl brought a gun to kill another girl at the school.
But she had sharpened her fingernails,
Right,
so
well,
she deflected the bullets.
The girl who was gonna get shot like tackled and beat up the girl with the gun. So like the gun went off and like the only thing that got shot was the ceiling. The girl just got like suspended for a few days and then like came back to school. It was
This is like
To be fair, they took away her gun.
they did take away her gun. She did not get that back. She had to go buy another one when she bought her TI-83.
they didn't have like school suspension. That's it.
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
Just out in the border or some shit.
God,
Jesus,
man.
Gus.
It was fucking awful.
We had a lot of fights at our school.
Go figure. I don't like school.
We
I'm
had a
gonna
lot-
start growing out my fingernails and punching holes in them. And,
Just wandering around the office waiting for something. Just
yeah.
we had a lot of fights at our school, and I guess it was like this everywhere, but it's like when a fight broke out, everybody was super excited, and they all ran to the fight because they all wanted to watch. Well, there was one time where a fight broke out in the bathroom, and I saw it because I was in the bathroom peeing. And I was like midstream, and this fight breaks out, and then people start yelling, and then hordes of people start rushing into the bathroom, and I can't do anything about it.
I would always just yell,
an awesome
"Stoop kids
fight,
leaving
though.
a stoop" from Hey Arnold.
There was this kid who was setting paper towel dispensers on fire in my school, like in my high school. And he just kept, like, no one could figure out who it was. And he'd set them on fire, set them on fire, set them on fire. Well, there was also this other kid who would go to the urinal and pee with his pants down, all the way down by his ankles. And apparently they walked into the bathroom at the same time. And they just made this pact. It was like, I won't say that you did this if you don't say that I still do this. And they're like, and they still couldn't figure out who it was. Like, he just kept setting the things
Honor.
on fire. Yeah, honor. Don't say I pee with my pants down.
Here, I'm going to read this other thing. I want to remind everyone this episode of the podcast is also brought to you by... I'm going to continue telling awful high school stories, specifically about the bathroom, because now that's the tangent
That's where
we're
we
on.
are.
So, since like you've determined, I essentially went to a prison for a high school. None of the bathroom stalls had doors because they couldn't trust the students with doors. So it's like, and the bathrooms also never had toilet paper. So it's like you could not take a dump at school, or if you did it with no door and no toilet paper. Like,
So it was prison.
It was just
You
like
take a dump when I say you take a dump.
it was like just understood. It was like, that's the way it is because we're animals and we can't be trusted. And similar to your fight story, one time I was using the bathroom. So the whole high school was bad, but there was one wing of the high school that was really bad, and I really had to go. So I was like, God, I'm gonna go to the bad wing. I'm gonna pee in there.
It was just the east side.
And I was standing next to a guy. I was at one urinal. He was at the other. We were both peeing. A group of guys walk in the bathroom, and they just sucker punch the guy to my right. It's like fucking knock him the fuck out. He falls to the ground. They circle around him and start kicking the shit out of him while
Is
he's
his
on the
dick
ground.
still hanging out?
And I'm like, I just gotta finish peeing. I'm just getting out of here.
You're like, I can't stop it; it'll burn.
Yeah, it's like I'm just gonna finish this and walk out. Hopefully they don't hit me before then.
You just try to like fit in and like kick him too.
Yeah, you have to at that
Fuck
point.
this guy.
I'm with you guys.
I'm gonna go look out for anybody coming.
One time in middle school, I was standing next to this girl. I was waiting to get picked up by my parents after school, and I was standing next to this girl, and we were both like standing by the street waiting for our parents, and I kind of got like a little shoved to the side. I was like, oh, that's weird. And I turned and I looked, and the girl had gotten shoved to the ground, and a gang of girls was like around her, kicking her on the ground. And I remember to this day, like looking at her face on the ground and seeing like the imprint of shoes on her face from where she was getting stomped on the face. And I was like, I just want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, do I really have to continue going to school?
Is this why you're such
Guess-
a hard ass today? If you went to that school?
That's
Oh,
Did I
man,
ever tell you
tough.
about the first time I moved to a new school and went to the bathroom? Did I ever tell that story?
I don't think so.
So I went to new school and went to the bathroom. I was nervous. A new state, new school, didn't know anyone. Go to the bathroom. I pee, and I go to wash my hands. It's weird because it was a weird like long sink, like a really long sink.
Oh, piss trough?
No,
Wait, what are you talking
It was a
about?
long sink, and so I go and I'm washing my hands, and
Oh,
it's
sink.
like a really long sink.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I'm washing my hands, and this kid comes in the bathroom, and he's just staring at me. And I'm already self-conscious because I'm like the new kid in the school, and he's staring at me like I'm a weird. Like he looks at me like what is wrong with you? I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm washing my hands in the sink, and I leave, and then I come back to go to the bathroom again at lunch. It was a piss trough.
I totally ruined that, Chris. I'm so sorry.
I was washing my hands in the toilet.
What did you use for soap? Did you not think it was weird that the soap
I was like,
way
where's
over
the soap?
by the normal sink?
Well,
No.
So
Sometimes you have the little thing in the bottom of the.
No, I was
the
just.
sink,
Did you use a
grab it.
urinal?
No, I just was like, where's the soap? I guess they're out. And so I just, because what it was a big, big old urinal, and they just had a pipe that had water constantly pouring out of it. I had never seen that before in my life. I went and peed in the toilet.
He was a senior, by the way, in high school.
And I was washing my hands. There was this, I didn't look and see that there were sinks right next to the.
He was nervous.
there
He
was a
started
penis
washing his
there.
face.
But then when I walked in, I was like, why are they peeing in the sink? Like,
So did you,
You
spend
guys
like
are
the rest of your
animals.
day with filthy piss hands?
it was just, no, it wasn't piss, and no one peed on my hands. It was just the water.
You just washed them in the urinal.
Yes.
That's piss water.
That's
No.
piss hands. You had pee hands.
All right, well, whatever. I'm not gonna argue that. I might have washed my hands in the toilet, but it was an innocent mistake. I didn't know. I was young.
How old were you?
I was
19,
like
right?
10 or 11.
Okay.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, I'm just glad there was only one dude who walked into the bathroom. It wasn't like one of those times.
Do you think he's on a podcast right now? Telling the story about the time he saw someone washing his hands in the urinal.
I was pissing on this kid's hands.
But he gave me
and-
this look that was like I don't know. I was like, what am I doing wrong? I'm just trying to fit in.
See, I feel like so much about growing up as a guy is just peeing on stuff. Like there's
Go
so
on.
many I think times in your life that you can like isolate where you've been peeing on random things, and it's kind of like your progression. Like when you see the movie Boyhood,
I don't know about
it's
that.
like I watching it, and it's the one thing that I thought was missing is he never peed on anything.
I do remember as a child coming out of a movie and peeing and thinking, this is the longest anyone has ever peed. This has got to be like, you watch in the movie and you really, really have to pee. And I was just like, no one has ever peed this long. This has got to be the
Well, it's
most.
like when you get a Boy Scout, you're like going out in the woods, and then you go pee and like you go fishing.
We should stop talking. I really have to pee, so we
Isn't
should
it more
stop
like
talking about
it's more
this.
like peeing off of things? I thought it's like, yeah, you pee on things, but like peeing off of something, like a building or a big rock, like Boy Scouts, like over the river. So that's when it's right.
I don't know.
You're a freak. I'm jumping off this bandwagon.
No, it's
Aaron,
really
you're just
no.
piss
It's about
wagon.
washing your hands in things that people pee in. That's what it's about.
So, Aaron, you like space stuff, right?
Yeah, I like space.
So I think it's anniversary of Sputnik 2. It was one of the missiles that Russia put into space.
Satellites, they're called at that point.
Yeah, Sputnik literally is satellite, and
Well, it was on a missile. They
yeah,
didn't just throw it up there.
Right.
So
Go on.
they put a dog in there, and it's like when I heard about that, I was like, okay. I mean, I guess a puppy was born, and the dog subconsciously knew his whole life this was, he's training and all this stuff, and the ultimates pay the ultimate sacrifice. But apparently, they just picked up a dog off the street, which I thought was even worse because there's this poor dog that's just like, going around trying to get food wherever he can. And then all these people come up to him and are like, hey, come with us. Come to a better life. And they're pampering him and they're feeding him. And they shoot him into space to
What
die.
happened? Did he die?
Yeah. There's no return trip.
Do you know the name of that dog?
oh man,
Casimir.
no,
Leica.
that's
Laika.
right. God. Okay, here I'll
If you're
say
a
this
dog,
though.
that's-
But to
No,
be fair,
It is the first animal ever to orbit the Earth.
It's 59.
Well, who would be
57,
the
I
guy
think.
that was
What's
like
57?
raised their dog
So
and was
Sputnik
like,
one.
my dog's, I'm gonna send him off to blow. They're
Well,
gonna
no,
grab
it's
a
just like,
random dog.
You
They're
pick
not gonna.
a dog and you take him from a puppy and you start training him. So this is the life he's always known. You don't take some, it's dog and you're just like, hey, here's this wonderful life, and he's like, I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I met these people and my life's so much better. hey, why is it getting really hot in this really small room?
But Brandon, you're talking about a dog that was living on the streets that would have just like died in the streets probably. But now we're talking about
we know its name.
We know its name.
How many dogs?
It's a hero.
Do you
that
know?
dog.
They're
Milo.
The only reason I remember the name Leica is because there's a game development company, Minicore Studios, who's exhibited RTX a couple of years, and they had a game revolving around that dog. It's called Leica Believes the Sun at Night, and it came out. It's like, what if Leica didn't die and went on to have these fantastic adventures in
That's
space?
funny.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's an indie game. You can find it on Steam.
What when you buy your dog, Gus, do you think about when it's gonna die?
God, yeah, I do. It's really depressing.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think about it at least once a week. It's like I've got my dog, and I'm like, "You're awesome." You're like I like hanging out with you. You sit here. I pet
we
you.
work. We work well.
This is good. We've got a few more years. It's really
it's
depressing.
sad. Well,
to
that's
think
the thing.
about.
It's like, but that's like you have a baby. You're like, well, I'm gonna die before you, baby. So you don't have to worry about that. But with a dog, you're like, well, I know I'm gonna outlive you.
chance.
I'm gonna outlive you more than likely, unless you buy a dog when you're like old.
Just get the dog stuffed. You just get it stuffed, and you put like a bottle opener in it, so it's always like useful for you. And you're like
You're a
Brandon's-
monster.
No. I had the. Do you want to hear a bad dog story?
Yes.
All right.
You guys are forcing me.
All right. So I was 4. And we had this dog named Binky.
Did you kill it, Chris?
No. I didn't. We had this dog named Binky. It was the family dog. It was the only dog I knew. I was 4. It was a family dog. My dad's out of town on a business trip. I wake up one morning. My mom is crying. Everyone's crying. The dog died. I was like, it was just like a cry fest because it was like my sister was 6. My brother was like an infant, and everyone was just crying because the dog was dead on the porch. My mom didn't know what to do. She got she got a little hysterical, I think. So she was like, this is weird. So she laid a blanket out next to the dog. And then she got me and my sister to flip the dog onto the blanket. And then we drugged the dog, me and my sister, while we're bawling, because this is our family dog. We drugged the dog to the garage where we had a freezer. And then we lifted the dog and put it in the freezer until my dad got home a week later.
Were there times in the middle of the week you went?
Yes, exactly. I went and showed my friend. I was like, listen, I got to show you my dog.
just past that cream
it was
corn
like
there.
it was one of those things where it's like, have you ever seen a dead body?
Yeah. It's like, would you like some ice cream? You want to see a dead dog?
I got one, and it was like one of those things where we lifted it and we'd see it and it'd be like looking at us. And I'd
You
be
didn't
like,
close the eyes before you put it in?
You put it in without wrapping it, Chris?
it was in the head of the blanket.
What, but how
You think Chris's dad was like, motherfucker, I knew that dog was gonna die. I left town.
I just remember my
They put it in the fucking freezer.
I just remember my dad getting back and was like, why didn't you bury it? And I was just a kid and I was like, why is mom and dad fighting?
popsicle dog?
It was it was so I just the thing is that was the first time I've ever been around an animal that died. I thought that's what you did.
You put him in the freezer.
Yeah, I just assumed
Before you
that
put
was
him
normal.
in there, did you put a big stick, impale him?
No, I just thought that was like a dog dies. It's like you put it in the freezer.
I hope I never die around you. Really,
I thought it was normal. And not until like years later when we were telling that story when people were like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, we put it in the freezer." And and then our dad got back from business and then we took it out and we buried it. And like, "What?" I don't know. I thought it was normal.
That's a little weird.
It was weird.
At least you recognize it now.
Yeah. That's what I think about. That's why I don't have a dog.
I like
want
how
a dog.
you immediately took a drink and then immediately started talking.
I don't want to. That's why I don't have a dog.
That's
Just
one of
because
the
of that
many
reason.
reasons why you don't have a dog, I think.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's like I mean, definitely, it sucks to think about that. But dogs are great up until then.
Yeah.
So you
Until you
gotta
freeze
think
them?
about it. Up until you have to
Well-
freeze
Well,
them.
then they last forever.
We're at an awkward point with our family dog. He's about to turn 14, and so I've had him for basically half my life, and he's in great health. But it's like you just don't know, and it's tough because like they could live to be 3 more years, and you're just like, I don't know. So you just like enjoy it, but I love my dog.
I feel like I don't want to end on a sad note.
Well, no one's dog has died except for Chris's, but it's okay because he's preserved.
Yeah.
It was, what if you took the dog out to bury it and it defrosted and it was fine?
He's alive. It's a
Yeah.
miracle. It's a Christmas miracle.
Or worse, you try to revive it. It's like there's like a lightning storm outside, and you like put it out there with all these shovels around it.
Oh, what's this? What are we looking?
What are these frozen
Bottle
dogs?
openers.
That's what I'm talking about. Isn't that great? Wait, what are those
They're
things?
squirrels.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those are squirrels with bottles in them. Is that what that is?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to say Binky was a great dog.
Yeah,
Shout out to
obviously,
Binky.
Chris. You
Shout
put
out
it
to
in with
Binky
the
the
fucking
dog.
corn and the broccoli in the freezer.
Yeah, it was weird. I'm not gonna lie, because we had food and stuff in there too. It's weird.
Like I wonder a story like
Other dogs?
No, just
a story like that makes me wonder, or it makes me realize that parents have no idea what the fuck they're doing. It's like I think about it's like when my dad was my age, I was 16. I could not imagine having a 16-year-old kid being like, yeah, I know everything in the world. I'm going to tell you what's going on.
that's the thing.
You should absolutely adopt a 16-year-old right now. Because I would pay to see
What
that.
about your hard high school stories and whatever else?
Yeah, he was no help with any of that stuff.
It's like, Dad, should I use this hole clipper for my nails?
What kind of rape spray should I have?
Yeah, you're gonna cut up your card real nice, son. Gonna gouge an eye out with that.
And then we'll put it in the freezer with the dogs.
You're not afraid that girl who brought that gun to school is listening to this podcast right now?
No, God, no. I told anyone I went to school with is too stupid to use a computer.
As he takes
You're laughing, but it's absolutely true. They're all fucking idiots. I did not go to a good school. No, there's a couple of people that were all right that actually understand stuff that I see doing stuff on the internet.
What do you think the worst thing worst aspect of parenting that you would have? Like,
I wouldn't have any empathy, I don't think.
suck it up.
Yeah, they like the kid would be complaining about something, be like, I really don't care. You know, that really doesn't concern me. And that's why I don't have a kid. I feel like I could not do a good job at that. It's
Work
like
it out.
I'm too selfish of a person.
Your kids.
It's like I'm playing Evolve. The beta's gonna end in a couple of days. Just deal with it, and then I'll talk to you once I'm done.
Your kid shows up with a frozen dog. Dad, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. What about you?
You figure it out.
Brandon would not be a good father. I'll just say that
I'd
right
be
now.
like I would treat my daughter like royalty, but the boy, if I had a son, I would give him
the boy gets the
so
whip.
much shit. Yeah, do better. Shut up. Stop. I'm already practicing. Son, I guess I'm gonna have a kid. I don't know, but like having a son seems so awkward because I remember how awkward it was to be like ages 11 to now. And like having a kid, like a boy in the same house just seems super weird.
It's like everything's covered in
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
everything's covered in
Everything.
Everything's got a thick film of something on it.
It's all stiff and
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just like
Gross.
watching TV at night. Excuse me, I need to go to the be right back. Go away 15 minutes.
I know
kid
what
comes
he's doing.
back,
I know
And
what-
then like 30 minutes later, excuse me, I gotta go back upstairs.
He's not
15
shitting
minutes.
this much, but I know what he is doing this much.
Yeah, it's like at that point you would have to wear a bell around yourself to announce your presence everywhere
Yeah.
you go in the house.
That would be the thing. Like you couldn't walk through closed doors anymore.
Yeah.
Like you just because you'd be walking in on like development essentially, right?
Development. That's a very polite way to put it, Aaron.
He's developing.
He's developing himself.
He's over developing real hard in his bedroom. Right.
I got
the
some
den.
magazines for developing.
All right. Well, it's about time to end the podcast.
Oh.
So thanks for coming out, sitting with us, Aaron.
Thanks
I
for
feel like
having me.
We learned a lot about
Did
dog
we?
preservation.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I've got a little preemptive there, but thanks. We'll be back tomorrow with an episode of Screenplay at 4 o'clock, and on Wednesday with an episode of The Patch, also at 4 o'clock. And RT Podcast again next Monday. Bye.